Hi folks, welcome to Flix with the Hicks. My name's Greg, this is my lovely wife Janet. Each episode of Flix with the Hicks, we review two films that we recently watched. We always review the best film that we watched and the worst film that we watched. And this week, I got tasked with picking the worst film. The worst film that we watched recently is Meet Dave. I didn't even know about this film. But it must have had really, really good publicity because it was made for $60 million, but it only grossed $50 million, so it actually lost $10 million. I'm surprised that this film didn't lose much more than that, so they must have had a lot of publicity for it. But this film stars Eddie Murphy, Elizabeth Banks, and it also has Kevin Hart in it, and Scott Conn.
Big names.
A few, yes. I think this is probably the worst film I've ever seen Eddie Murphy in.
Really?
Yes. The whole plot revolves around, well, it starts off with a young boy looking through his telescope up into space, and he sees something falling from space. And unbelievably, this thing falls from space and lands in his fishbowl. I don't know how it didn't break the fishbowl. It's a steel kind of ball rock looking thing. So that's a miracle that it didn't just break the fishbowl. But when it goes in the fishbowl, it sucks up all the water. It takes all the water out of the fishbowl, including the fish. Now, 3 months later, there's a fireball falling from the sky. Hits the ground, and it looks like a human being. It leaves a face imprint in the ground. Well, actually, it's not a human being. It's a spaceship made to look like a human being with 100 tiny little, I guess you call them astronauts in it, or beings inside of it. But this spaceship looks just like Eddie Murphy. So they've come to Earth to try to find this steel ball that's fallen from the sky because their planet is dying. They don't have enough salt. They need salt to save their planet. So the whole premise of the movie is searching for this steel ball, taking the steel ball, throwing it into our ocean, draining all of our oceans so that they can get the salt. Now, amazingly, Dave just happens to find this, Dave, the spaceship, just happens to walk around and end up becoming a substitute teacher at a school and finds this young boy, Josh, who is the one that was looking in through the telescope trying to figure out what this thing that was flying down from the sky that landed in his fishbowl was. Well, Josh explains to the spaceship, Dave, that a bully took it from him. So now they got to try to find it from the bully. And the whole time, the spaceship doesn't really understand our world.
Our culture.
Yes. So the first thing the spaceship has to do is find a name. So they do a search online. They do a search to try to find out the most common names in the United States. Or the world, I guess. I don't know. And they came up with Dave. So he became Dave. Okay. Now, I like a lot of Eddie Murphy's movies.
Yeah.
Loved 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
But why Eddie Murphy would take this role, I have no idea.
He must have been desperate for some reason, or under contract.
There wasn't a good thing about this film. I mean, even the special effects of this reminded me, if you're my age and you lived in the 1970s and you're a kid on Saturday mornings, you probably watched Land of the Lost.
Oh, yeah!
The special effects in this film reminded me of Land of the Lost. I mean, it was that bad.
Is he considered this like a B movie? Or a D or F?
That's the crazy thing about this film, though. It was a very polished film, but the special effects were not good. Was it
made to be like that, though?
I don't know. But Eddie Murphy was not good in this film. It just was not a good film. There was a few entertaining parts in the film. There's always going to be with Eddie Murphy. He'll have a few funny parts. But overall, this film is bad.
bad.
It just really was.
Okay.
So, in
so
fact,
it lost money. It really sucked. The whole storyline is stupid.
Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I think after watching this film, it probably lowered my IQ another 6 or 7 points. This was a bad film.
You think little kids would watch it? Just because it's, you know.
I honestly think if I was 12 years old, I would have watched this film and I would have thought to myself, this is dumb. Mm-hmm. This is dumb.
Well, what about a 7-year-old?
If they could understand the plot, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it's a rated G movie.
Is it?
Is it? Or
I don't know if it's G or PG. I don't know. I don't have the rating on it, but it was family friendly, but it just wasn't a good film.
Yeah.
It's just there really wasn't anything redeeming from it. Kevin Hart was decent in his role. It was a very small role. If you're a Kevin Hart fan, this is not the film for you. Very small role, and he played, he's a small guy anyway, but in this film he's really small. He escapes from the spaceship by climbing out of the ear.
Yeah.
So
it's stupid.
But anyhow, it just wasn't a good film. 0 to 100, I would give this film a rock solid 15.
Yeah, I was thinking like 10. It's that bad.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
that
it is.
bad.
It is.
I mean, kids or whatever. It's like, doesn't really make sense in a lot of ways.
The worst part? I had to watch this film 3 times because she kept falling asleep during it. It was that bad, honestly. It was bad.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
But anyhow, glad that one's over with. Janet, would you like to tell us what our best film was?
All right, guys. My best movie for the week is Resurrecting the Champ. Josh Hartnett, Samuel Jackson, Alan Alda. Made in 2007. Made for $40 million. It didn't make that much money. It's like 300 and some odd, thousand. Plus some other residual overseas money. But I liked the movie. I did. Okay? Josh plays Eric Kerman. He's a journalist for the Denver Times. He's up and coming young guy. Noted, a lot of pressure on to do all these articles for sports and that kind of thing. And he's like, boom, 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 putting out all these things. But it's not quality. And Alan Alda says, it's not quality. Volume is not quality. So, he runs into this guy saying he's the champ.
Homeless guy, yeah.
Yeah, homeless guy. And Samuel Jackson with these dreadlocks and everything. He's like pushing the cart. Homeless guy. I'm the champ. And this guy keeps getting beat up by these, young, rich thugs. These young guys that like to, oh, you're the champ, huh? They're like, yeah, I'm the champ, that kind of thing. And
on the streets.
On the streets,
yes.
Yeah. And this journalist runs into him and starts following him, and the champ, which he says he is Bob Satterfield.
Yeah.
Is who he says he is. Okay? He was out on his luck and started playing, boxing in the West Coast because some rich guy wanted him, to fight there, and he was good, really good. And this young journalist started following and wanted the champ to tell me your story, which is very detailed, following him around, giving him food, taking him out to eat, and he's telling his life story, right? Well, turns out, the story is very elaborate, but, okay, there's stuff that's going on with the champ And you can see there's even film footage. He has an associate that's doing all this research, pulling up old VCR tape, and it shows this big old scar on his back, and proving that he was a really great fighter. Well, I can't give away the whole story, but it was good. This old guy, saying a homeless guy, and what happens to athletes like that, old boxers and stuff? What can happen to them and end up on the streets and not having any money, and the up and coming journalist, trying to do. He gets a big story in the front of the magazine, the middle of the big paper, and front page, everything. The magazine part. You know how they have a feature and everything, and he gets offers from all over the United States after that story, and then
starts interviewing fighters in the ring.
Yeah, going to Vegas and the big fights and stuff, and things are going great, and his son is so proud of him, and some different things happen in the story. I'm not going to give it away, but I like the story.
It was a great story. It really was.
It was.
And it all basically revolves around the journalist played by Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
And Alan Alda is the editor of the Denver Times. Mm-hmm. And Samuel Jackson is the boxer. This story is very...
Could be true.
Yes, well, the story that he puts out in the Denver Times is so well written that it tugs at everybody's heartstrings. Mm-hmm. And he becomes an instant success, the journalist does.
Yeah, he gets all
But did he get all the facts straight? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, when you're a journalist, you better do some backup on your information on detail.
But it's a very compelling story. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly also. Mm-hmm. It was very well acted also. Mm-hmm. It, to me, appeared to be a much bigger budget film than it actually was.
Right.
And Samuel Jackson was great in this. And this role, I was shocked to see Samuel Jackson play this role. I've never seen him play a role like this. Just kind of a beaten down, older, on his last legs type of guy that didn't have anything left in this world to fight for, or didn't have anybody that cared for him anymore.
He loved the attention.
Yes, but it was a good film. It was a very good film. So if you enjoy boxing, you'll enjoy this film.
And about ethics.
Yes.
There's a lot of ethics involved here. And then there is compassion. There's sadness, there's laughter, there's intense. If you get all those in a movie, that's a plus.
Sorry about the noise. We have a train going by the back of our property right now. So, but anyhow, what would you rate your film 1 to 100?
I'd say probably like an 83, maybe. It's not fabulous. It did get an Etsy award. It was the Young Artist Award in one category, but it's not like Grammy and all that. But for this week, it was a good movie.
It was a good film. I would give this film an 80. I'd give it an 80.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a keeper. I would keep this film to watch again.
Yeah, I'd like to see more details. You gotta pay attention to details. What happens with homeless people and stuff too. And you can see that happening. Especially when promoters and stuff take all your money.
Yeah. But anyhow, folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Flix with the Hicks. If you did, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the little bell down in the corner, and until next time, go out and enjoy a great film.
Strange RV tours will take you places with Greg and Janet's smiling faces. You might see a crazy flavored soda review or some tips to fix your RV too. So come along, won't you join us, friend, as we discover what's around the bend. Just sit right back in your easy chair. Strange RV Tours is on the air. Strange RV Tours is on